Oh, nice. What part of Wilmington? Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I'm not from Wilmington. I have family in Wilmington, and I used to bartend at Level 5 downtown. Right in there. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I used to bartend. I used to clerk for one of the judges too in Wilmington. Hold on, I'm about to increase the DB. Mic check, mic check. Test, test, test. Mic check, mic check. Test, test, test. Mic check, mic check.
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yep.
All right. Who is that? Jada?
Yes.
Fuck.
I heard that too.
Motherfucker. Did you hear that? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm stuck to the microphone now. You have one of these? I might. But it's got a US. It's got a I might have a excuse me. I got a long cable, but not one for that. I got I got it. Not me. Fernando. Hello. Yes, okay. Just be bad and a little bit. Yeah, we got a little time to slow. I know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. Okay, I got a client. She is looking to, do you have any pre-approved buyers in like 175 to 500 range around there? It's only Tuesday. Hold on. Mic check. Can y'all hear me still?
Yes.
Test, testing, testing, testing,
I
testing,
can I
testing.
can hear.
I'm good? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, hey, I'm good. How's it going? Everything good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think there was yeah on the properties. Okay. Okay.
You want to move to Highland Creek? What? Oh no, those people. No, no, those people are weird. Those people are weird. But I was gonna say, but Highland Creek, the homes are just too old for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Real quick, let's get started. We have people on Zoom. Can you hear me on Zoom? Can you
Yes.
hear me? All right. We'll get started. Welcome to all the new faces. I'm typically in the Fort Mill office, and sometimes I don't make it to the meeting. So welcome. Can you, you don't mind introducing yourselves, please? Either one. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm DeAndre Lipscomb. I'm well. I was invited by Tijuana, so I'm a I'm an active agent right now. I've been an agent only for about 7 months. So I'm with another firm right now. But Tia has brought me in and told me some great things about lifestyle. So that's why I'm here. So thank you for having me.
So if any of y'all have any questions, feel free to ask anybody. We're an open book. We're willing to share, not just wins, but our losses, so you can learn from mistakes as well. That's as opposed to experiencing it, bumping your head, learn from other people's mistakes, get ahead, right? Start off with wins. Can we start off with the win we had this past weekend going on a Lake Lore trip? I'm sorry. My fault. Delez, sorry. We had Delez put in a long time, a lot of work putting together a trip for us as a brokerage to go to Lake Lore. And I was all for it in January, even February. But by the time the weekend came, I couldn't do it. So I apologize. We all apologize. We apologize. It would have been a fun event. We will do something together. We have the industry nights and all that, but we do need to get together and just have a family event, whether it's at one of Fernando's houses or something like that. Something together. Pick a date. Perfect. Any wins? Anybody want to share any wins?
Hello, everybody. Hey, Lifestyle. Y'all, I missed y'all. I have not seen y'all in like forever, right? So, I'm on Candy Camera. Oh, okay. So just a couple of wins. So I sold my home. And I also got the foreclosure sold. I don't know if y'all remember that from the cold call. Oh Lord, I got the couple. Yeah, they closed last week. I got a new buyer from a referral of the home buyer seminar we did here last month. That client that I got from the seminar referred someone to me on Thursday. We looked at a house Friday, went under contract on yesterday. And she's also selling her home. So now I'm getting ready to list that for her. And that will be going on by the end of the week. Yeah. Oh, so if you have a buyer pre-approved between 475 and 500, I'm thinking if we list it probably like 485, 490, just to kind of really get it going. Because time is of the essence since she just went under contract on her new home. It'll take FHA, it'll take conventional, we'll take VA. You know, it's a really nice 5-bedroom house, three and a half bath, 2-car garage, fenced in backyard, screened in back porch, pavers, fire pit, upgrades on the fireplace, custom closets in the master bedroom and in the garage. Like it's really, really, really nice. I think the square footage is like a little under 2,400 square feet. Mount Holly, Huntersville Road. Yep, right beside. It's right near like Catawba Plantation, like that area.
So a question I didn't ask when you told me before
Yeah.
is do you know what her interest rate is and can the loan be assumed?
So she's VA.
Okay.
So she purchased the home VA, so it cannot. I don't think be assumable. It's only FHA, right?
No,
VA can't be assumable. Okay, well, I have to check. She bought it in 2019, so her interest rate's probably pretty decent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. 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 All right, that's it.
She's been putting in a lot of hard work, and I'm happy to see that her hard work is paying off. For all of you that are getting weary for putting forth the effort, she's a testament that wins come in cycles. You may work 3-4 months and not see any fruits of your labor. Don't get discouraged, because that 5th month, you 3 deals in the span of 60 days. So it can change like that, but you have to be consistent in putting in the work, right? Even when times are going well, I implore you, to continue putting in that work, continue holding those homebuyer seminars or whatever you're doing, because you don't want to get here and then when you're done with those closings, wondering what the hell, I don't have anything else now, right? We want to keep that momentum going. So don't get discouraged. Stay with it. Any other wins?
Push anything or just talk? Oh, I don't know where she is, but want to give a shout out to Alicia Murray. We've been clear to close for probably about 2 weeks now on a property. There she is. Very old property. Appraisal came back subject to. They did the repairs. Well, quote unquote, did the repairs. Appraiser went back out for the final inspection. Repairs were not done, and Alicia, throughout the entire process, made multiple trips out to the property to have eyes on it, kept the buyers calm. Our buyers have been in a hotel now for a little while, and then was very diligent with the listing agent, because at one point they did want to give up and throw their hands up and say, we can't do anymore. But she was very diligent and basically keeping all parties involved, calm, keeping the lines of communication open. And I just called her this morning, got the second final inspection back, and we are good to close.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yes, congratulations. That reminds me, I was yesterday was my on-call day. Thank you for all of you that did not call me. I appreciate it. But I was putting together some stuff with helping some other people, and I want you to just to remember that it's our job to keep the transaction moving forward, right? We get paid what we get paid to find solutions, right? And when people say no, where there's a headache, where there's emotions involved, appraisals don't come back, contracts don't do what they're supposed to do, it is our job to find solutions, right? And take your emotions out of it, because it's not about us. It's not about why the hell I got to do this. No. It is, that's what we're the expert. Even if you've been doing this a month to 20 years, we are seen as the expert. And if we want to get paid like the expert, we have to find solutions. And if that means even if you don't have that connection, call Sean, call myself, call Fernando, call Yadi, reach out to somebody that can connect you with that person, right? So thank you for your due diligence Alicia, in making sure that transaction gets done. And we have to be that voice of calm, that voice of reason. Buyers in a hotel. I only can imagine the calls that Alicia has been getting talking about when the hell is this going to get done? I got my family living in a hotel. Like, we have to let them see the end goal, not just experience what the hardship that they're in right now. They have to be able to see and experience, based on your wisdom and guidance and being that voice of calm, that it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. So you wanted to share anything about this transaction? Okay. Yes.
Like, people know when they're going through challenges, and they remember, like, people remember going through challenges, right? But when you get that clear to close, when you get that good news, when you get to that closing table, like, let them know, hey, look, you had to work hard for this, right? Because then it makes them feel accomplished, like, and then that accomplishment it feels so much better. When it comes too easy, it's not the same. But when you have to work for it and somebody calls you out on it, right? You as the realtor, you as the loan officer, tell the client, hey, congratulations, you had to work your butt off. Sometimes these take a little work on everybody's part, right? And make a joke out of it, and then they're like, yeah, thank you so much, you guys, and then the thank you comes back to you at the end of the day for sticking through it.
And that's a perfect time to go ahead and ask for that review and that referral, because you put in the work. They see that the effort that you put in. Ask for that review. I know we saw something recently about Google reviews. We want to make sure you get your Google reviews up, and just reaching out to clients, colleagues, church members, wherever it may be that knows you in the community, that can attest to the type of person and type of work you do, right? Trying to think what else happened recently. Well, one, I've been slack in sending my referrals to Steve and the concierge team. Shame on me. I finally did, and my clients looked at me like I was a superhero because she is one of those ones that like is on the ball. She's like typically a month and a half ahead of everything else. Even when she wanted to list home, I'm like, that's too early. But she was fine living in a hotel. She wanted it done with. Him and his team reached out and got them to switch whatever they were doing. Ended up going with us and made me look like a rock star. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you. Any other wins? Oh, what's up?
I have to stand up there. Okay, good. So I'm actually partnering with a nonprofit organization called the Odd Sock. Most people don't realize that socks are the most needed things for homeless people. So and the Odd Sock is an organization that collects odd socks, like those lonely socks that get lost in the washing machine and dryer. Yes. So if you guys have any mismatched socks, if you could connect with me so I can meet you to collect them to donate to the Odd Sock. So I don't have a foot fetish. I have a leopard fetish. But yes. So yes, that's just my request by April 4th.
Anything else? Welcome, Tijuana. Anything else? Any other wins? Well, I think there was somebody that wanted to say something today. Is it one of you? Come on. Win. We're getting called out, Rick. What's your win? Rick is celebrating another year on this earth. That's a win. That's a win. And I don't know why he wants to be low key now. He's not low key ever. Rick has been. Yeah.
Oh, I got it. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. So I do want to give this man a shout out real quick. Number one is his birthday. He was working on his birthday. All right. You motivated, man. I appreciate you. But Rick texted me yesterday morning. I said, hey, man, listen, the leads haven't been updating in Mojo for expired listings. What can we do about that? Right. So I thought it was still working. Came up here to the office. Oh, he gave me hell first. I did. I said, you know what? You're a business owner. You're a business owner, Rick. Listen, that's your responsibility to get you some leads. But you know what, though? You're right. I appreciate you getting on the phones every day, man, making those phone calls. Let me set this up for you, right? Got the lead set up for Rick. Rick made 2 phone calls. 2. And the listing that you saw this morning get dropped in the chat box was the one that he secured on the second phone call yesterday after I set that up. Yes. So kudos to you, my man. For those, as Sergio said it a moment ago, man, about Charmaine, right? Just constantly putting that work in, constantly with your head to the grindstone, man. Just driving. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow, right? But I watched this man come into our office and tell me flat out he wasn't scared of anybody or anything. What does he need to do? He got on the phones, made himself better, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. The man is, look at him, boom, boom, boom. He rocking and rolling, man. So y'all can do this, okay? Those of you that are afraid to do it, just keep hammering away. Go through all those no's, okay? Go through them. He got the listing before he even went to the house, okay? He set it up so much that he told the guy, when I come out there, I'm not coming for an interview. I'm bringing my paperwork, and you're going to sign when I get there, okay? And that's exactly what happened. So the listing was his before he even got to Cheryl's Ford, all right? So, again, kudos to you, homeboy. Great job, man. Yeah, thank you.
Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. My name is Pamela Williams-Gupton, and I am the Director of Sales at the Home 2 Suites Charlotte Uptown. We are downtown and connected to the Whole Foods right off Brooklyn Village, right across from the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And we are partners to this wonderful business. We participated by volunteering with the Cancer Healing Walk. And we have donated items and we have a rate that is set for you all. When you have families that are here that are staying in hotels for a little while, tell them to come to Home 2, make Home 2 their home too. And inside of here is my information as well as the corporate code for everyone with this real estate firm where they get it's no blackout dates and it's a set fee, a set cost for you all. We are continually, being partners because we know that what you do is so important. So we want to make sure that we provide another resource for you here in the Charlotte Uptown community. So thank you so much. There's one for everybody. Here you go.
Thank you. Any other announcements? I know it was brought to reminded. Next week we will be in Belmont at the McLean community by Tri Point Homes, South Shore. Tri Point is a fairly new builder to the Charlotte area. They build beautiful homes. When you get there next week, you'll get to see how they look, the design. One thing I'm just big on reputation. And one thing I don't know about them is how their homes last and stand the test of time. That will only tell based on them being here and we resell the homes and all that stuff. That's your neighborhood? Nice. But how long you lived in it? Exactly. So we don't know yet. I'm just saying, so it's a beautiful home and I believe it's going to be an amazing product. It is an amazing product, but I just can't, I like to be able to vouch and talk with authority when I'm talking about builders and stuff like that. And this is nothing, no knock on them. They're just new to the community, new to the area, but they're very active in the area. And I like the fact that they are welcome to realtors now, because when they first got started in Huntersville, they were realtor adverse. So I'm very happy that they are welcoming us in and going to talk about their product. That's going to be next Tuesday. And then following that week, we will have a Google specialist come in and talk to us about how you can rank higher in Google and search and on the map section, to where different things you can do for your website and your Google profile. But when people look up realtor near me or whatever their search term is, they're finding you and not some competitor. So make sure I'll keep you posted, but it's going to be in 2 weeks. It's not going to be next week. It's going to be the week after that. Any other announcements? Oh, that was already last night. So Lifestyle is one of the sponsors of NARAB and YRD Young Realtist Division. Mic check, mic check.
I can hear.
Oh, you can hear?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Sean,
Yeah.
it's you, brother. All right. So Lifestyle is a sponsor, supporter of NARAB. NARAB is the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and there's a division, Young Realtors Division. Now, what NARAB is, it is the oldest Black trade association, sorry, it's not a union, trade association in our country. I know you all heard about the NAR proposed settlement and everything like this, right? Well, not until the late 70s, early 80s were Black people even allowed to be part of NAR. But if it was up to me, I would not be part of NAR, but I have to be part of NAR to be part of Canopy Realtor Association, right? So, but African Americans and minorities started NARAB to have our own association because they would not allow us to be in the National Association of Realtors. And we have different events going on throughout the year. We will have something every single month just to support our community and just to give back. I'm very fortunate to be in the place I am right now, to be surrounded by you all as well. So I believe it's only right for us to give back. And it's tatted on me, but Sean mentioned it to me a couple of weeks ago. To whom much is given, much is required. You have to give back. If you thought you got here based on your own hard work, your own dedication, I'm sorry, but you're sadly mistaken. There's people that came before us that sacrificed, and allowed us to be here, allowed me to be up here in Jordans and a hoodie selling real estate, right? So we have to give back. And NARAB has had its ups and downs in the Charlotte area in the past, but Sean and I are on the Young Realtors Division board, and we plan to make a difference and actually have an impact in the community and to give back. So I will be reaching out to all of you, whether probably on the chat, not individually, being perfectly honest, to partake in some of the events, if not all of the events that we are doing and sponsoring. And some of it will be community service, but other events will just be networking and get-togethers. Tijuana?
Yes, good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? Good. Chris, congrats. Chris has passed his exam. Yes, and he's looking to join us, right? Did I just put you on the spot? Okay. Yes, but congratulations, Chris. And then we want to welcome DeAndre. Thanks for coming out, DeAndre. Yes.
You already said he's joining.
All right, good. DeAndre, where are you from? Which company again? Keller Williams. Which one? Which location? Okay, good. Well, welcome. Yes, and it's good to see everybody. I just wanted to announce that. We'll make those two announcements.
Appreciate it. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Charmaine. The grand opening is April 13th at 6 o'clock. So I'm excited about that. Did everybody get the information as to where it's going to be? If not, I can put it back in the chat. I'll do that. I will do that, definitely. So we're also going to be recognizing the top producing agents from last year. So invite your family, your friends, other agents. It's going to be a really good time. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. If there's no more announcements, we have Ray White here to share some of his wisdom with us. He is you've been working with Sean, God bless you, for about 20 years.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
So thank you for taking time out of your day and your schedule, coming here sharing with us. Can you give him a hand, and I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're too kind. I'm not sure what happened to my presentation, but hopefully I got the email to Sean. So if you're online, hopefully you can follow along. But today I wanted to talk with you about strategic business structures for real estate professionals and maximizing your wealth through informed decisions. As was already mentioned, my name is Raymond White. I am the executive director for Conspicuous Foundation. Conspicuous Foundation is an organization that's committed to providing financial literacy and education primarily to people of color. We want to help people, give them the resources, and empower them to make informed business decisions, which directly impacts your wealth. I am also the CEO of Shared Prosperity Financial. It's a financial services firm. I have about 30 plus years in corporate accounting, which is where most of my experience has been with Bank of America and also TIAA. But during the course of that 30 years, at a very, very early on, I decided that I would have my own financial services firm with me, beside me at all times. So I created an LLC at that time. I've had moments where I've gone to my financial services firm full time. I've had, hundreds of employees, not employees, but clients doing tax returns and so forth. Things happen in the real world. I've gone back into corporate accounting, but at the same time, I always had my financial services firm. And I suggest that everyone in here should have their own business entity as well. So for today's agenda, what we're going to do is we're going to have an overview of some of the basic business structures. A lot of them you've heard of, you're familiar with. Some of you may already have them established, which is good. But I just want to take you through some of them, and also some of the tax implications for each one. I also want to spend a little bit of time. One of the basic business structures or setups is an S corp. So I want to go into a little bit more detail with that, since that is ultimately where people who own businesses and are accumulating wealth would like to be with their business. So financial literacy is more than just understanding dollars and cents. It's about making informed decisions that align with your long-term goals, especially in real estate where structures can determine your financial future. So the next page, I put together, it's a graphic, it's a decision tree to determine, whether or not you have a business, or whether, the basic decision behind having a business. And it really comes down to, do you intend to make money? There's a misconception that, having a business, the IRS tells you that, well, if you're not making money, then you're not really a business and you're more of a hobby. The IRS cannot make you make money. If you have a business and it does not make money, then that's what it is. You still have to act like business. You may have business cards. You may be registered with the state. You may have your business registered with the state. You may have financials. So you do all of the things where you act like a business and are still able to take advantage of the tax breaks for a business, even though you may not have yet accumulated any income. So it's really just a basic business decision. Do I want to make money or not? You can wake up the next morning and decide, I want to sell hamburgers. I want to have a hamburger business. Later on that day, I could take Sean to lunch and say, Sean, I think I want to have a hamburger business. That deal is now deductible. I haven't done anything. I can think back to, the meal or the travel that I had months ago where I sat with a restaurant owner and talked about him with his business. The miles that I took to get there is deductible, but it was all based on a decision, I want to have a business. So if you are able to see the handout, there's a breakdown of just businesses in America. So just to give you some idea of all of the business structures in America, only about 1.7% are set up as a C corporation. That's throughout the whole country. Even though that's where a lot of the dollars are in terms of actual business structures, it's actually the smallest of all business structures, with the largest being sole proprietorships, which makes up about 60% of the US population. So there are a lot of people who have set themselves up as sole proprietors. So a sole proprietorship is the simplest form of business structure that you can have. So like I said, when I woke up this morning and I decided that I wanted to sell hamburgers, at that point, I was a sole proprietor. Until I go through the steps to actually set up a business, I am a sole proprietor. And you can operate that way. My sons, they're all 20 years plus now, but when they turned the age of 18, I made sure that each one of them had a business related to whatever it is that they wanted to be in life, whatever it is that they wanted to do. I had a son that wanted to be in cybersecurity. Boom, you have a cybersecurity fund. I had a son that wants to dabble in marketing and he's on social media a lot. Boom, you are a marketing consultant for businesses and you can operate that way. And between my business and their business, we can find ways together to have better tax planning and put ourselves in a better tax situation. Now, the downside to having a sole proprietorship is that, when you go get a loan or you have a credit card and you use that credit card strictly for business, if that business fails, you're still personally liable for those liabilities. So that is the downside to having a sole proprietorship, which is one of the main reasons that people will go from a sole proprietorship to having an LLC or some other type of business setup. There's also a partnership. Partnership is identical to a sole proprietorship, except as the name entails, you have a partner. So you have someone that can share in the responsibilities, but they also share in the income and the work and any profits that the business may obtain. The next one, which is probably the favorite and the one that most people are familiar with, and which a lot of real estate professionals prefer, is an LLC. LLC is short for limited liability company. The key to having an LLC is that it offers some of the corporate protections, meaning that your personal assets are not at risk should the business fail, or should you get sued by someone in your restaurant or someone that you sold real estate to. It's limited to the assets of your company. One of the easiest ways for the IRS, or just in general, to break down an LLC is, well, you say that you're an LLC, but your personal expenses and your business expenses are all in one account. You shopped at Kohl's, but you charged it to your business account. Or, it's the separation of the personal expenses and the business expenses, which is one of the key things to having an LLC in the first place. The next structure is the C Corp. Now, I went to C Corp first before S Corp because S Corp is not in and of itself, is not a business structure. An S Corp is a way for you to be taxed through the IRS and also the state. So if you're going to set up an S Corp, first you have to establish a corporation, which is identical to setting up an LLC. The forms at the state are identical. You have annual filings that you have to do each year. So it's very identical. The difference is once you set up your S Corp, you actually have to file with the IRS to say, IRS, I would like to be treated as an S corporation. The advantages of a C Corp, though, well, the disadvantage is that with C Corps, you'll get taxed once. If you work for the corporation, you'll get taxed as an employee, Social Security, Medicare, and whatnot. Then also, because you're the owner of a corporation, when you get money out of the equity or out of the income of that corporation, you get it in the form of dividends. Dividends are taxable through a corporation. That's the main difference between the S Corp and the C Corp. With the S Corp, you're able to pay yourself as an employee of your company, but then you're also able to take money out of the equity of the company and not be taxed. So that's the main key difference between a C Corp and an S Corp. But that dynamic is part of the huge tax savings that most people realize by having set up an S corporation. S corporations and corporations versus an LLC or a sole proprietorship, the biggest advantage that people use, and the reason that they set it up this way, is because you can pay yourself. When you set up an LLC or you set up as a sole proprietor, and you have expenses for meals, and you have expenses for travel, and you have expenses for training, and all of those things, it's all tax deductible whether you have an LLC or an S Corp. The difference is after you make $150,000 and you expense $50,000 in legit business deductions, that $100,000 that's left, you're going to get taxed on. Versus an S Corp, where you made the same $150,000, you had the exact same $50,000 in direct business expenses, meals, travel, mileage, all of those things. Now that remaining $100,000, you can pay yourself a salary. You can take that $100,000, and this is just hypothetical. You can decide, okay, of that $100,000 that remains, I'm going to pay myself a salary of $90,000. So the business itself will still have net income of $10,000. That $10,000 is still going to be income on your personal return. You'll still see it on a K-1, but instead of paying the income on the $100,000 and also the self-employment income on that $100,000, you're only paying the Social Security and Medicare tax as an employee of your S corporation. So S corps pretty much combine the protection of pass-through taxation, meaning that you can still get taxed just like an LLC would, and get those tax savings, but you're also able to pay yourself. So just to recap some of the business structures, sole proprietor versus LLC. Sole proprietor, it's a low risk business. You can start one tomorrow. You can start one today. No issue, no problem, and still have legitimate business expenses. If your business doesn't need insurance, maybe you don't need an LLC. If you have less startup funds, if you don't have the capital to put into starting a business, maybe a sole proprietorship is good for you. But ultimately, you want to grow into an LLC, grow into an S corp, and then once your business really starts making money, go public and sell. Your company now gets capital by trading stock in your company. An LLC, you might want to go to an LLC if your business is more high risk, like if you're selling real estate and there are certain, implications as you have dealings with people wanting to buy real estate. If you need insurance, you might want to get an LLC. You have more personal assets, then you might want to start an LLC. So some of the similarities, I'll discuss some of the similarities between an S corp and an LLC. They both have the corporate protection, meaning that your personal assets are protected. So you don't have to worry about someone coming to get your car or coming after your home if the business gets sued or if the business doesn't do as well as you hope. So you still have that protection. The S corp, you can only have a maximum of 100 shareholders. Anything above 100 shareholders, you automatically become an actual corporation. With an LLC, it's unlimited. You can have thousands of people take ownership in one LLC that may own, a 500-room hotel or something like that. And I don't know if you guys can see this or not. This was a part of the slide, but this illustration kind of takes you through what I just described as the advantage of having an S corp over an LLC. So if you have a regular LLC, and as I said, it made $100,000, and that's the net income. You've already expensed everything that you can expense. There are no more meals to expense. There's no more travel, no more mileage. You're down to that net income of $100,000. That $100,000 will be on a Schedule C. It's going to be subject, it's going to have $100,000 that's going to be subject to income tax. And that same $100,000 is going to be subject to self-employment tax. So depending on whether that 100,000 is actually 200,000 or whatnot, you could actually have a tax rate that could be, close to 30% on the income that you make versus having an S corp. So with an S corp, that same $100,000 in net income that's left, you may decide that I'm going to take a salary of $40,000. Okay. With that $40,000, the Social Security and the Medicare is going to be taken out. So you still have those taxes. It's going to be reported on a W-2 from your company, but it's going to be for you personally. And that income will go into your tax return as ordinary income. The other $60,000 that left, you had 150 minus 50 in direct expenses, paid yourself a salary of 40. So that $60,000 that's left only gets taxed as ordinary income. So you don't get taxed again Social Security through self-employment taxes. That dynamic is, Will it still be at that 30%? No, because you have eliminated any self-employment tax. It is going to go into your tax return. The W-2 will be income that you will report. The $60,000 will be income that you will report. but it's all going to be subject to ordinary income, and you don't have to pay any of the Social Security and Medicare tax, which is essentially the same as the self-employment tax. So that dynamic, if you can kind of understand that dynamic, that is where the tax savings for having an S corp begins. And as I mentioned before, not everyone needs to have an S corp. You don't have to have an S corp to realize the maximum tax savings, because a meal is deductible whether you have a sole proprietorship, LLC, S corp, or whatnot. All of those expenses, all of those legitimate business expenses are deductible regardless of your business structure. Once you start hitting, some accountants have said, around 60,000. I usually use around 100,000 as a gauge. Once you start hitting 100,000, then you need to start taking a serious look at changing and filing as an S corp. Like I said, the election is pretty easy. You have to fill out a form and request that the IRS treat you like an S corp, but it's pretty straightforward. Also, one of the key, and this is probably my favorite aspect of having an S corp, the audit rates are lower than any other structure out there. If you have an LLC and you're reporting expenses on a Schedule C, meals, if you have a lot of expenses in meals, then by all means, definitely report it. Just know that when you have, a lot of meals, that could raise up a red flag. If you have high travel amount, that could raise up a red flag. Any of those types of expenses on a Schedule C, you're automatically increasing your audit risk just because you filed as an LLC. Those exact same expenses reported in an S corp lowers your audit rate, and it's the lowest audit rate of any other business tax structure. And then to add to that, for the ones who are audited as an S corp, 50% of those get a judgment of, you get the check mark, everything is okay. So it's even a smaller number of S corps, even if you are audited, that there's an actual finding in your information. So that's probably the main reason why most people will choose an S corp over an LLC. So that pretty much covers what I wanted to just bring to your attention: the different business structures, some of the advantages and disadvantages of both. There are things, they do operate a little bit differently. One of the big tax strategies that most people take if you have kids is to use your kids as a household employee. With an LLC, it's pretty straightforward. It's, like I said, it's just like a sole proprietorship. You can pay your kids this year. The standard deduction is $13,850. So that means that I could hire my son or my daughter to be what's called a household employee of my LLC, and I can pay them up to $13,850, which is a legitimate business deduction for my business. But my child that I hire, because the amount is under $13,850, they don't have to file a tax return. That changes if you have an S corp or an LLC. You can still hire your child. You can still pay them $13,850. However, when you have an employee of an S corp, once you have a corporation or S corp, the structure and the rigidity of the business structure is pretty standard, and it's one way to operate. So when you have a household employee of your S corp, like I said, you can still pay them up to that amount without worrying about any tax implications. But because it's the S corp, you have to pay Social Security and Medicare tax on your child, whatever the 7.5% is of the 13,850. So one of the strategies that we often use is a combination of both. Have your S corp and also have, your family management company. Like we have White Management Company, Family Management Company. It manages the people that manage the properties. It essentially is the management structure that looks at all of our assets and manages them. They hire and fire the property managers. They um, work with Shared Prosperity Financial. So it's what I usually have people do is have a combination of both, where you have an S corp, where you can realize the tax savings of an S corp, but then you might also employ your child through your LLC. Now you have an S corp, legitimate S corp, that can contract with your LLC, a legitimate LLC. They can have contracts and dealings and do things together. One of the other big advantages, this is one of the reasons why we choose an S corp, or one of the strategies we use having an S corp versus an LLC. Most people are familiar with deducting home office expenses for the business use of your home. If you have a room in your home and you use it exclusively for business, then that portion of the home relative to your entire home, you're able to deduct expenses related to it. So that means you can deduct utilities, security, home office repairs. A portion of that can go towards your home office. Maintenance of the home. All of those things can go towards your home office deduction. When you have an S corp, I'm not sure if anyone has ever heard of, it's called the Augusta rule. It's actually a rule that the IRS implemented. I want to say it was in the 70s. It's called the Augusta rule because each year during the Augusta golf tournament, CBS, NBC, hundreds of thousands of people would converge on the Augusta golf course and need a place to stay. So people would say, hey, you can stay in my home, for 14 days, however long you need to stay. Back then, if you rented that home out, you had to report the income. So the IRS made changes. The people of Augusta that lived in those homes actually said, hey, yeah, I rented my home out, but I'm not a property owner, you know? So the IRS changed the rule. They said, if you rent your home out and it's less than 14 days out of the year, you don't have to take it as income. So what people will do with their S corp with that information is I or my firm, Shared Prosperity Financial, will contract with Ray White, the homeowner, and say, Ray, I want to use your home once a month for meetings or events, or I want to have clients over, or I want to have my employees for dinner, which are also my son and daughter and perhaps my wife. We want to have those events. As long as it's not more than 14 days out of the year, you can contract with the owner of the home, which is also me. That means that I also need to figure out, well, what's the going rate for event space? So I will go out and I'll find out, what is the going rate for event space? And then that's what I will charge my company to rent out my business. Now, one of the things, and that's one of the things that our firm is really working to do now is, it's one thing to have this information and to try to use it, but you can't just go to your tax preparer and say, hey, I rented my home out, for 14 days. Ray told me I could do this, so here you go. No, you actually have to have, like legitimately, you got to have a contract in place. Shared Prosperity's got to sign it. I sign it. Ray White's got to sign it. I sign it again. You got to have these things in place. You also need to, as your S corp makes money and money is coming into your firm, the firm actually has to write a check to Ray White for the rent. You can't just claim it. You need to have, whatever your S corp is, write a check to you personally each month. This is for the February event. This is for the March event. This is for the pool party. This is for the Christmas event. And you actually have to write check to yourself for these things. Even some of the other expenses like meals and things like that, once you really get to it, you can't just claim these things, and you can't just necessarily bring, a box of receipts to your tax preparer. You actually have to move that money from your business account to your personal account, or take it from your right pocket and put it in your left pocket. And that's essentially what it is. It's basically, one of the keys to having an S corp, as I mentioned before, is you actually have to act like a business. So you got to write, real business checks, or you have to reimburse yourself for your cell phone and those types of things. So you actually have to look and act, like a business. So I think those are some of the highlights I think that I wanted to cover, some of the differences between having both entities or having the different entities, things that you can do. But, if you have a sole proprietorship, that's fine. At least you are operating as a business. But at some point, especially with what you do, you want to at least grow to an LLC. And ideally, as you continue to make sales, as you continue to make money, you want to start legitimately paying yourself. And the only way to do that is through an S corp. So I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to present to you. Hopefully it helped. I know most of you probably already have your LLC. You've even heard of having an S corp, and you've heard about paying yourself and kind of how that works. But essentially that is the way that it works, is you are avoiding the self-employment tax that you will have if you only file with your LLC and only have like Schedule C income and expenses. So, yes.
I have a couple of questions.
Mhm.
One is, if you already have an LLC,
Mhm.
would it just be converting it or would you keep the same?
All right. So if you already have an LLC in place, can you just convert it to an S corp? Do you keep the same EIN number?
Good question. So when you have an LLC and you convert it to an S corp, you would keep the same EIN number. You would just basically tell the IRS, we registered with you, we had an LLC, now we want to be taxed as an S corp. So the EIN number stays the same, the business name still stays the same. Even though you're filing as an S corp, it's still going to be, Yachty LLC. You're just being taxed as an S corp. So it is it's pretty straightforward. And you would use the same business structure.
Okay. And then my second question is, I know that commingling is an issue. I lose my debit card all the time. So then I have to go to my personal and pay whatever it was for the business. Are you supposed to then pay back? Like, are you supposed to write a check from one account to the other, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, through the accounting process, you can correct that for having paid, business expenses through your personal and vice versa. But if you think about it, if anybody works in corporate America or has a job, essentially what you do is, I had a function for Bank of America, and it was off-site, and we had to, give like lunches to kids or something like that. And we didn't have the money to do it. So I paid for it with my own personal debit card. And then I said, hey, Bank of America, I paid for these meals with my personal debit card. Give my money back, and it essentially works the exact same way with your business. What you just described is called an accountable plan. And whether you're an LLC or an S corp, you need to have an accountable plan in place. Essentially, all that is a written document that describes how the business is going to pay you back for those types of expenses. So it may determine that, we're going to pay you a portion of your cell phone because we know you use it. So it goes on an expense report. So some of those same expenses would go on an expense report. On the flip side, you only had your business debit card, but it was these cute pair of shoes and you just had to have them. So you use your debit card for your business because that's what was available to you. Shoes are not a legitimate business expense. You can't deduct it. under any circumstances that I can think of. Pardon me? Well, I'm sorry.
For marketing.
Yeah, even if it's for marketing. But generally, clothes you are not able to deduct. The only way you're usually able to deduct clothes is if it has like your logo on it. You know, if the shoes have your logo on it, you know, maybe you could justify it that way. But generally, clothing and those types of things are not tax deductible. But it would work the same way since it's not a legitimate business expense. It's, you know, and if you're the owner, essentially that comes out of, you know, your portion of the equity of the company. Or if I get paid, you know, if the company pays me $1,000 each month or whatever, it's essentially going to be the business paying me, you know, $800, and it was a $200 pair of shoes. So it was essentially that $1,000, and that's kind of the way that you would account for it. But, you know, all monies going in or out of the business account, there is a way to account for it in a legitimate business transaction. But it may just be that, you know, like I said, you know, for those types of expenses, it's essentially business paying you for, you know, that was a part of your salary. So like if you spent $200 pairs of shoes and I get paid $1,000 a month, your check this month might only be for $800. But essentially that $200 pair of shoes is in the $1,000 payroll number that we pay you each month. Essentially, that's kind of how it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have one more question. If you have car, so last year I had a ton of car expenses. Like, I mean, like the car need to go in the trash, but you know, we just did a lot of work to it. And I know like I've been taking mileage. So is it like, can you flip flop, or if you start with miles? Okay.
Yep. When you start with miles, you have to finish with miles. Yep.
Who had the money?
Any other questions?
Yeah. How much is the so you're saving on the self-employment tax? How much is the self-employment tax as an LLC?
So altogether, as a business owner, think of it as 15%.
Okay.
Roughly. You personally, like if you have jobs or whatever, your portion of the Social Security tax is the 7%, which makes up, you know, all of FICA, Social Security, and Medicare. The business also has to match that. So the business also has to pay its portion of 7% roughly. But when you look at it from the perspective, you know, I'm the employee, I'm also the business owner, and you're paying both portions. So you look at it as though you're paying the, you know, the 15%. Another way to kind of think of it too, as you ask that question, you know, the lowest tax tier is 10%. So if your income is 0 to, I forget the amounts, and I want to say roughly $10,000 or something like that, your income tax rate is 10%. Then it goes from 10% to 12%, which is where a lot of people fall. Most people fall in the next top tier because it jumps from 12% to 22%. Then it goes up from there to 24 to 32 for those that are making, you know, millions of dollars already. That's what your tax rate is. The Social Security tax which you are paying falls right in between that lower tax rate of 12% and the next tax tier, which is 22%. And it's fixed. It doesn't go up. As a matter of fact, Social Security caps out at 160. So once you make 161, then you no longer have to pay the Social Security tax. Medicare tax you pay forever. If you make $1 billion, you're going to pay Medicare tax on $1 billion. Huh?
Any more questions?
Thank you for this. Very informative.
How
Thank
can people
you.
get in contact?
Thank you.
How can people get in contact?
I should have brought business cards, but I did not. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I know real estate agents, they have all the tools. I know. So I'm learning a lot, but no, I will get with Sean to hopefully get this information to you for those who are interested in seeing it again. Also, my information, should you have any questions or anything like that. Oh, and I also forgot, more details to come, but we're also planning an event just for the Lifestyle International agents to go a little more in depth about either filing as an S corp or either setting your business up. So I think we're planning something like a lunch and learn or a panel discussion where we can go spend more time, talk about more things, and be in position to, kind of set things up. So if you have specific questions or specific needs, or things that you need to address, financially, we can do it at that time. All right. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Well, that is it. People in Zoom land, we're about to turn you off. People here, feel free to congregate, talk, ask. I don't know how long you're staying. If you're gonna stay around, people have questions. Ray's gonna be here to answer any questions. And we got Sean back there. Please bug him. That's all we got, Dwayne.
Hey guys, just a heads up. For many of you, the second quarter is coming. So your dues are going to be underway. So if you want to stay in compliance with MLS, just be ready to log in to Canopy MLS and make your payment for your dues, just to keep you compliant, keep the firm compliant. If you're not paying the MLS dues, unfortunately, we would have to unaffiliate. And the reason why we have unaffiliate is to protect the firm from liability, okay? We're required to have that affiliation. So we ask that if anyone's having some challenges, do approach one of the leaders so we can work something out for you. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that the firm, everyone here can move forward and do transactions accordingly. But that's what I got for now, and thank you. Yes, yeah, that was so for Roniel asked, yes, make sure to pay their dues.
Yes.
No. But if anyone is having a challenge, do approach us, see what we can work out for you guys. But nonetheless, we want to make sure that we stay compliant. And that's the most important thing. Protect the firm. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Before we wrap up, I know we talked about wins. Do we have any needs amongst the family? How can we help? What can we do? Help with cold calling? Well, we have a few people that are very good at it. And I don't want to, well, we got Dwayne, Steve. I was thinking of personally, just selfishly, I don't want to put you on the spot, Fernando. I don't know what you got. I know you got a kid. I know you got everything going on. I don't know what your schedule looks like, but he is, he's a master at what he does and his craft and his energy. I want to take some of it because I'm not there. Any other needs? I will be in the office. Well, kids are going away on spring break next week. I'll be in the office every day, all day. So I'm happy about that. If anybody wants to come in, I know I had a couple people reach out, want to talk about YouTube videos and set things up. Fort Mill office, I'll get there probably at 7:30 and leave about 5. Now we'll stop somewhere in there and get lunch, but any way I can help, let me know. Either way, you can text me. Just make sure nothing came up. I picked up a client who was buying a home in Greenville, North Carolina. If anybody, I put in the chat a referral for Greenville. I put them in contact with somebody, and they're like, okay. If there's anybody, I'll get her contact information from you. Because person I put them in contact with dropped the ball. So I'm just happy that they came back to me. I'm like, hey, this person is not up to your standard. You must have not met them before. And I'm like, you are 100% correct, but they came highly referred. So I don't want to go to Greenville. I say that I don't want to go to Greenville. So I should be around any day, but just call me, let me know. Anything else? Any other needs? Well, thank you all for coming. This is a nice turnout for a Tuesday. This takes me back to the beginning days. We got a nice turnout here. I like it. Let's keep the energy going.